Madagascar is gripped by one of the most dramatic political upheavals in its modern history, as President Andry Rajoelina has reportedly fled the country amid an unprecedented wave of Gen Z-led protests and a growing military mutiny. Officials from the presidency confirmed that Rajoelina had left Madagascar, though his whereabouts remain unknown, sparking confusion, anger, and speculation over whether his departure marks the fall of his government or a temporary retreat. The crisis began as mass demonstrations over persistent power cuts, water shortages, and rising living costs in the capital Antananarivo. What started as localized frustration quickly escalated into a nationwide youth movement, dubbed Gen Z Madagascar. This generation of tech-savvy, politically aware citizens demanded an end to corruption, inequality, and what they called Rajoelina's elitist, disconnected governance. The protests have become one of the most significant youth-led movements in Africa this decade. According to reports from the United Nations and international media, at least 22 people have died, and more than 100 have been injured in clashes between demonstrators and security forces. Despite attempts to suppress dissent, the protests only grew stronger, fueled by social media and solidarity from across the country. A major turning point came when the CAPSAT, Corps de Personnel et Services Administratifs et Techniques, a powerful unit of Madagascar's armed forces, defected. CAPSAT announced that it would no longer follow government orders to fire on protesters and accused the presidency of betraying the people. The unit took control of several military facilities and declared General Demosthenes Pikulas as the new army chief. This effectively transferred operational control of the military away from Rajoelina's administration, creating a de facto power vacuum. Though CAPSAT insisted that their actions were not a coup, observers describe it as a de facto military takeover. The Defense Ministry, under immense pressure, eventually accepted the new leadership, signaling the collapse of Rajoelina's authority. Amid this turmoil, officials confirmed that President Rajoelina fled Madagascar on Sunday, October 12, 2025, possibly aboard a French military aircraft from the island of Sainte-Marie. His destination is unknown, though rumors suggest that he may have sought refuge in Dubai or France. In a brief social media statement, Rajoelina said he had been forced to find a safe place due to threats to his life, calling the military's move an illegal power grab. However, he stopped short of resigning, claiming that he remained Madagascar's legitimate president and was committed to restoring order. Despite this claim, his control over state institutions has all but vanished. The military, gendarmerie, and national media are now effectively under CAPSAT's command. Opposition groups, buoyed by popular support, have begun discussions on forming a transitional government, though no clear leadership structure has yet emerged. International reactions have been cautious but concerned. France, Madagascar's former colonial power, has denied involvement in the president's evacuation but called for dialogue and restraint. The African Union has urged all sides to avoid violence and respect constitutional order, while the United Nations has warned of a potential humanitarian crisis if instability persists. Uncertainty now looms over Madagascar's political future. Analysts describe the situation as a constitutional vacuum, with no clear civilian authority in place. The Gen Z movement, while celebrated for its courage, remains decentralized, lacking formal political representation. This raises questions about whether the movement can transition from protest to governance. The risk of internal division also remains high. Some parts of the military reportedly remain loyal to Rajoelina and could attempt a countermove, potentially plunging the country into further chaos. Meanwhile, looting and attacks on infrastructure have been reported in Antananarivo and other major cities, prompting fears of a security breakdown and worsening humanitarian conditions. The crisis in Madagascar reflects a wider pattern seen across parts of Africa and the world, where younger generations, frustrated with entrenched political elites, are taking to the streets demanding systemic change. The Gen Z movement's success in forcing a sitting president to flee demonstrates both the power and volatility of youth-driven revolutions. As of now, Rajoelina's whereabouts remain unknown, and his political fate hangs in the balance. Whether he will attempt a return, negotiate from exile, or fade into political obscurity remains uncertain. Madagascar stands at a crossroads between hope for renewal and the risk of prolonged instability. If the protests evolve into a structured reform movement, this could mark a historic democratic awakening. But without unity or leadership, the same energy that drove change could dissolve into chaos. The world watches as Madagascar, a nation long resilient through adversity, faces one of the most defining moments in its history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. See you in the next one.